For the past few weeks, I've been driving our Ford F-250 with the 10-speed transmission. And I took a peek under the truck and noticed that the transmission pan is plastic. And you know what does not dissipate heat well? Is plastic. So Quinn is finishing up our 10-speed ram air transmission pan, and the final piece of the puzzle is today's leak test using a custom seal. For those who haven't seen Quinn before, he is our ME group lead, most famously known for his role of recipient in Gail's supercharger air density lesson.
Oh, that's right.
That was a good one.
That was a hit.
The people like that.
Every cubic foot of air that gets inhaled by the cylinders comes from the intake manifold, and we want to make the density of the air in the intake manifold as high as it can possibly be.
Sorry, I had to bring that up.
It's all right, no worries.
But Quinn does a lot more of our complex parts around here, so he's doing transmission pans, diff covers, charger coolers. So Quinn, you worked very closely with Gail on this one. Can you walk me through some of the feature sets of what makes this the best transmission pan on the market?
Yeah, totally. Number one, it's not plastic, right?
That's a big one.
It's aluminum, it dissipates heat. So this has some of the patented features, right? We got a patent on our ram air transmission pans, and that covers things like our scoop, things like our fins, which flow through. It's also got a drain plug, so you don't have to remove your transmission pan every time you do a fluid change.
All right, I want to compare this against the stock pan because this seems quite a bit more shallow. So are we adding capacity in ours compared to the stock?
We are, yeah. So without having this thing stick out beyond the cross members, we did take advantage of some of the extra space available. So we're adding 5 quarts of capacity. A fair amount of that comes from filling in this carved out area, which is where the exhaust pipe comes through on the gas trucks.
Gotcha.
So we are optimizing for the diesel trucks, but you're picking up a lot of extra volume in that area.
Okay, so 5 extra quarts in there, so we're gonna slow down heat soak.
And extend the time between when you need to service that fluid.
All right, so we see the external fins, but what also happens here with the flow-through fins is that the external fins are also the internal fins. They connect straight through, optimal heat dissipation.
That's right.
And now, traditionally, transmission pans are O-ringed, correct?
Typically, they're either gasketed, like with a flat gasket,
Yep.
or sealed with RTV.
And so we've got, this is not an O-ring, what do we got here?
This is what the OEMs call a press-and-place seal, or a PIP seal. Similar to an O-ring, it lands in a groove, different from an O-ring. This is actually molded to a complex shape, so its cross-section isn't just round. Few advantages to that. The biggest one to the OEM is that this likes to stay in its groove much more than an O-ring does. So once you install this, you turn that part over on the assembly line, it doesn't want to drop out.
Okay, let's take a peek. Let's see how this thing fits up. And now, I imagine Ford has their own PIP seal. Why are we not using Ford's here?
So Ford does have their own PIP seal. It costs about $50. We took a look at it and we decided that we were able to make a gasket that was just as good, even better. We were using a higher quality material, and we're able to actually manufacture this and include it in our kits so that our customers don't have to go and buy it themselves.
So you say higher quality material, what do we have here?
So we are using Viton. This is a highly chemical resistant rubber. The OEM is a Buna N, which is good for the application. This is even better. Yeah.
I notice we got some cutaways in the casting here. Is that for alignment?
That's right. So on the seal, you can see I've got these 2 little dimples right there. So those are what actually locates it. That's what shows you that you're putting it in the right spot.
Okay, so even if you flip it, you'd be able to tell that it was wrong.
That's right. So if I flip it over upside down and I try to put it there, nothing lines up right.
Yep.
And if I try to put it in the wrong orientation, then I'm gonna have this other little bump in the wrong spot. So what this does is makes it so that you can only install it one way, which is the right way.
Well, go ahead, let's get this thing installed and talk to me about today's test. So we've got a leak test. What does that constitute?
In order to validate this seal, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a plate on top of this transmission pan. We're gonna seal it all up, and then we're gonna put it in a water bath, and we're gonna put pressurized air inside of it. And we're gonna look and make sure that we're not seeing any air escape from the transmission pan. Just the same as you would look for a leak in a bike tire.
Okay, and now I know transmission pans aren't typically high pressure, so leak test for us would be something typically like a charger cooler. It's a prototype piece, and we want to take it beyond its working pressure, which you're talking anywhere between 20 to 40 psi. But a transmission pan is a little different. So what kind of pressures are we working with here?
Transmission cases in modern vehicles are always vented. So there's no internal pressure,
right?
Because the OEM doesn't want internal pressure trying to push fluid out, cause damage to components, anything like that.
Yeah.
So Using a pressurized air test gives us two things. One, we're going to test at a higher pressure than this seal will actually encounter. And two, trying to seal air is harder than trying to seal ATF. Air molecules are smaller, they'll escape more easily. So between the harder to seal media and the overpressure that we're going to put to this thing, as long as we pass this test, we can have great confidence that it's going to function in the truck.
So if it doesn't fail here, it definitely won't fail in the truck.
Exactly.
Okay, well I see you've got your plate. Let's bring in the plate here. And so this is what, just a 1/4-inch chunk of aluminum?
Yep.
I see, yeah, so it's the mating surface you got already tapped, and this is just, yeah, so essentially mimicking the transmission?
Yep, exactly. Just a flat 1/4-inch aluminum plate, laser cut, drilled and tapped. And
DA to take off any high spots?
Yeah, exactly. And so we'll just get this cleaned up and we can fasten that transmission pan onto it.
And so I noticed this has a bit more of an ovalized cross-section compared to O-ring. How does that play in the favor of sealing?
Yeah, so that's another advantage of press and place seals. Because you've got that taller, complex shape, you're able to actually have more vertical compression, whereas with an O-ring, you're limited to 30 or 35%. That's kind of the lower limit for these. They typically exist in that area or even a little higher in terms of compression. So what that means is that it can actually seal a little better, especially if you've got slightly rougher surfaces. It's not quite so dependent on having a dead smooth surface. And it also affords you some benefits in terms of sealing pressure and
Overall superior piece.
Yeah, I mean, O-rings are great too, but PIP seal has some advantages over it.
All right, let's get this thing connected. Now, Clem, one thing I hear a lot about these transmission pans is guys that are worried that this is going to scoop up something or catch something and break off. But we've planned for that. So talk to me about how this is attached to the pan.
Yeah, sure. So attached at 4 points with screws. At each of those points, the plastic scoop has actually been intentionally weakened. So it's plenty strong to hold up to your normal surface. It's not going to just rip itself off. But this little groove here, those little notches, and you can't see them under these screws, but there's a similar small undercut where we've thinned the material. And so what it is it's just a preferential fail point, right? So if you don't build in some mode of failure, your components are going to find their own.
Yeah.
And in our case, the last thing we want is for the transmission pan itself to get damaged. You hit a rock or a stump if you're off-roading or whatever, you know, if it catches on this scoop and applies sufficient force, it's just going to rip that scoop right off. And if it does, you can hit us up and we'll send you a new one.
Beat me to it. Call us up, we'll send you a fresh one.
That's right.
I hope you get going here.
Yeah.
So we've talked about how it breaks away. Now talk to me about the shape and what we're doing here to the air as it kind of, you can see that scoops it down, forces it to the fin. So what's going on there?
Yeah, so we're just capturing flow that's passing under the vehicle, right? We're casting a nice wide net with the aperture of this scoop here, and that air comes in, we reduce the cross section, we speed it up, and we force it through our fins. And so that's kind of, it's a type of forced induction, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, forced air cooling across the top of those fins.
That's exactly right,
I see.
So, you know, having fins is great. Having fins that you are deliberately forcing air over like this is even better.
So we're getting these hand tight at the moment, but this is a lot like a wheel or like any other big sealing surface that there is a torque sequence. So once these are all hand tight, we're gonna come back, and I think, yes, we do have a printout for all, how many bolts do we have here, Quinn?
20.
20 bolts. Oh, that's a little more complex than a 5-lug wheel. So we'll come back and we'll get this thing torqued to spec. And now I imagine with a pip seal, a lot like an O-ring, you're gonna completely bottom out those surfaces ultimately.
Yep, exactly. Yep, that's exactly right. So we're gonna do 60 inch-pounds today because we're threading into a 1/4-inch aluminum plate. So we don't have a lot of threads there.
Less thread engagement than on the actual pan.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you're exactly right. With an O-ring, with a pip seal, you've got it residing inside of its seal groove. And so once you bring the two metal faces into contact with each other, that seal is going to be in a controlled compression. So that's a design point that we use, and that's also an advantage of an O-ring or a pip seal or anything with a groove, is that you're not going to damage it by over compressing it.
Right, so you're just at the mercy of the flatness of the piece, and then as long as you're torquing it in sequence, get it nice and flat as it's brought into spec.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why kind of sequence is important, is that they want those two components to come together nice and flat, even distribution of pressure. Yeah, no warping, no, you know, if I tighten one side down way too much too quickly, I risk, you know, forcing my seal to squeeze in one direction and, you know, potentially extruding out. Yeah, exactly. So that's why we follow their torque sequence.
Okay, so I noticed we put these bolts in dry. On the OEM install, would you use thread locker for these?
No, I wouldn't use thread locker for these. It's uncommon to use those thread locker for things like oil pans or transmission pans. The torque on the fastener is more than enough in this case for it to stay where you want it to stay.
Okay.
And then you won't have to blowtorch your fasteners to get it back off if you ever need to. Yeah, exactly.
So before we dunk this thing, we're going to pressurize it through our 1/8 inch MPT port here. But for you guys at home, you could use this as a BS meter. We'll give you an opportunity to go and put in your own temperature sensor and see what are your actual fluid temps now in your pan now that you have all this cooling capability. All right, we've got our bath here for the transmission pan, got our pressure regulator, so we'll go ahead and get this thing hooked up. So we talked about this thing only seeing about ambient pressure. So what is our threshold that we're going to today?
We're gonna test this one up to 5 PSI.
All right, let's get this thing dunked in.
All right.
Okay, hook it up to our regulator. I'm gonna shake off any residual air bubbles that might have stuck to it.
All right.
Okay.
So let's start nice and easy.
You go ahead.
All right.
I'll be on the lookout for any air bubbles.
I'm gonna start gently adding in the pressure once I get through the deadband of this regulator. There we go. All right, what do we see?
Nada.
Excellent. I'm gonna keep going. 2.5 PSI. I don't see a single bubble.
Nope, looking good.
That's what I like to see. I'm gonna go up a little bit more. 3.5.
Still good? All right, let's go all the way.
Let's go all the way. Let's do it. All right. Okay. 5.1 PSI. Any bubbles?
Nothing.
Looking good.
So at 5 PSI, what kind of forces are we looking at on this piece?
So that plate that we put on there is about 275 square inches. So at 5 PSI, there's close to 1,400 pounds trying to push that plate off of the transmission pan, or push the transmission pan off of the plate.
I feel a little more comfortable back here now.
I drew all this up. I'm feeling pretty good right here.
Yeah, you're as confident as you can be with this piece, but no
That's
bubbles, right. 5 PSI. I say that's a success for the PIP seal.
Great success.
If you want the best Ford Transpan on the market, sign up at bankspower.com. It's coming soon.